Hello everybody, in this video we will speak about how do Bach flower essences work. First of all, let's explain how classical remedies, classical medicines work, or classical herbal medicines work. They are chemically active, and that is why with increasing dosage both effect and side effects grow. And the medicine usually replaces some insufficiency, like antibiotics replace insufficient immune system or hormones, or suppress some harmful reaction like high blood pressure or allergy. And when the medication is stopped, the problem usually reappears. On the other hand, Bach flower therapy belongs to so-called information therapy, together with, for example, homeopathy. And the principle is that the remedy offers information that can change the system. And in information therapy, one dose is irrelevant, how big or how small it is. Because information can be written on a small piece of paper or on a big billboard. And the effect depends on the fact whether the system is ready to accept it or not. And what's important is the frequency. If you take Bach flower essences more frequently, they usually work faster. In homeopathy, if you take the remedy too frequently, you can provoke a so-called homeopathic aggravation or homeopathic proving. The complaints get worse. And when the medication is stopped, the effect usually lasts. And the reaction to Bach flower essences can happen on many levels, on emotional thoughts, behavior, physical symptoms, on interpersonal level, and the deepest level is transpersonal, spiritual or moral level. And let's start with the emotions. There are two types or pairs of emotions, complementary emotions like fear and courage, impatience and patience, weakness and strength, hate and love. And one is negative and one is positive. And Bach flower essences help us to switch from these negative emotions to positive. For example, they support courage in fearful persons or support patience in impatient persons. And if, for example, a person becomes more courageous or has a higher self-confidence, you can also observe it because his behavior changes. And you can see it already in his body posture. A person who has a fear is usually hunched. He avoids eyesight, for example. His voice is weak and hesitant. And after Bach flower essences, you can see that the person behaves differently. He looks directly in the eyes, and his body posture is straight, and he doesn't hesitate so much. And of course, if somebody is courageous, he may, for example, start some behavior that usually would provoke fear in him before the therapy. Or he may be ready to say no, for example, to refuse something he doesn't like, or he may ask for something he needs, for example. And the body and the soul create one whole. And although Bach flower essences, it seems that they are targeted to the emotions, there is always also a physical component of the effect of the remedy. However, to prescribe according physical symptoms is much more difficult than to prescribe according to emotions. That is why Bach himself described the essences on the base of emotions. So if the if the therapy is successful, you can often see that physical symptoms also get better. For example, migraine is less frequent, backache is not so serious, and the patient, for example, doesn't need to take so many pills, painkillers. Uh, and Probably the effect has something to do with the energy, with the flow of the energy in the body, because these negative emotions cause some blocks in our body. And if the essences remove these blocks or remove these negative emotions, the energy starts to flow more easily. And this energy brings healing to different parts of the body. Uh, there is also a change of the communication, because our communication often is similar to a drama or to a comedy, and it's sometimes the thousandth repeat of the same theater play. And although we know that it will end with the same disagreeable result, we continue in playing this drama or this comedy. And the reason is that we have, for example, a fear to change it, or we do not have enough self-confidence. And Bach flower essences help us to change our attitude. So it's quite frequently seen that people change their everyday communication, and it reflects in the fact that sometimes the patient himself doesn't observe any change in himself, but for example, his wife tells him that he's somewhat different. He is, for example, less irritable, or on the other hand, there might be more conflicts, for example. So there is some change in this communication, and the other persons sometimes observe it more easily than the patient, and it's usually a good sign that the remedy works. And there is still the deepest level, transpersonal, moral, and ethical level. We often observe that during the therapy, there is a general trend from self-centeredness to selflessness. So people pay more attention to the needs of the other people, to their well-being, and do not concentrate on their problems so much. And there is often a change of personal values. For example, a patient previously a workaholic decides to spend more time with his family. So the family is more important than it used to be. And he decides to spend time with the education or with the care for children, with the upbringing of children. Or the patient may start to discover spiritual aspects of his life. Or previously fearful patient has a courage to fight for his colleagues because they are treated unjustly. So he doesn't fight only for himself, but he wants to help the other people too. Or the patient works in some job where the payment is fine, but he has a moral dilemma. He, for example, sells something that is not good for the customers. So he may decide to leave and to find another job. Or the patient may decide to fulfill his childhood dream and he becomes an actor. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. And in the next video, we will speak about what is information therapy.